you want to get this on now or call the order?
We'll call the order and then get her going. So she dropped off then? You had her drop off?
I heard it click.
Okay.
I'm back.
Oh, good. Oh, hi. Thank you. All right. Are we ready?
Ready.
Great. I will call this November 9th regular Seward City Council meeting to order. Lieutenant, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Yes, ma'am. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Casagrande.
Here.
Demas.
Here.
Cease.
Here.
Osinga.
Here.
McClure.
Here.
Bachlan.
Present.
Mayor Terry.
Yes.
You have a quorum, Mayor.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is citizen comments on any subject except those items scheduled for public hearing, and we have no items scheduled for public hearing.
We did not receive any citizen comments.
Great, okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is the approval of the agenda and consent agenda. Can I get a motion, please?
I move for the approval of the agenda and the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Did you get that second?
A couple of them. I heard two of them.
Like Russell? I'll look for any changes. Well, I'll just throw out a couple changes. If we could postpone resolution 2020-083 to the November 23rd meeting, if there's no objection to that. And then also, I'll just try for it. If we could put resolution 2020-087 on the consent agenda. If there's an objection, we don't have to do that, but. Okay, seeing no objections. Are there any other changes to the agenda? Madam Clerk, could we call for a vote, please?
Approval of the agenda and consent agenda. Demas.
Yes.
Bachlan.
Yes.
McClure.
Yes.
Casagrande. Yes. Cease.
Yes.
Osinga.
Yes.
Mayor Terry.
Yes.
The agenda and consent agenda have been approved. On the consent agenda, we have resolution 2020-087. Authorizing the city manager to purchase 2020 Chevrolet 1-ton 4x4 truck from Alaska Sales and Service and accessory equipment to replace a 2004 Dodge 3/4 ton truck for a total amount of $48,743.63 and appropriating funds. Resolution 2020-088, authorizing the Seward Police Department to accept grant funds as reimbursement for personal protective equipment and professional sanitation of the Seward Community Jail from the Alaska Department of Public Safety, fiscal year 2020. Coronavirus Emergency Supplemental Funding Program in the amount of $1,607.27 and appropriating funds. Resolution 2020-089, accepting grant funds from the Alaska State Library for the Public Library Assistance Grant in the amount of $7,000 and appropriating funds. Resolution 2020-090, authorizing signatures for all city bank accounts and rescinding all previous resolutions in conflict herewith. Resolution 2020-091, appointing Harbor Master Norm Regis as acting city manager beginning October 27th, 2020 and ending December 15th, 2020 with the option to extend as necessary. And approval of the October 26th, 2020 regular meeting minutes were on the consent agenda.
Thank you very much, Madam Clerk. Next on the agenda is 6 special orders, presentations, and reports. Proclamations and awards, there are none. Borough Assembly reports. Not tonight. City Manager's report. I will turn it over to administration.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So for POs that we issued since the last meeting, we have $6,680 for the Fort Raymond and Loring troubleshooting and SMIC planning. $11,550 for Vassar DECS 250 voltage regulators, and then $7,900 for large street lights, and $10,500 for citywide job descriptions to update approximately 70 to coincide with the wage study. And then 13,300 for flood response, low point road clearing, rock slide and waterfall. And then 5,800 for the LED lighting conversion. And I also have one more thing I need to read from, so to be an envisioning work session regarding what the citizens of Seward would like to see done with the Jesse Lee home property on November 17th at 6 p.m. in the council chambers. Community Development will be sending out a survey through the clerk's office along with ways for the community to participate this week. Just want to add that to that. You have anything?
Yeah, one thing, so in your laydown, you have a note from our personnel officer talking about GovHR's proposal for their assistance in conducting a recruitment effort for our finance director. At this time, given the importance of the position, but also the associated costs being what they are, it's administration's recommendation that we hold off on contracting with GovHR to conduct that executive search. We do have a number of interviews that we'll be conducting late this week. We've made some changes to the job description and added some additional locations that we're advertising the position. And as soon as we did that, we actually saw 2 applicants the day of when we made those changes. So it would be our recommendation to hold off for a month. And if for some reason we're not able to find a suitable candidate after that, then administration will come back to council. But I'm fairly confident that we can probably find a quality candidate that meets the needs of our community in the coming month, just with the updated efforts that we have underway. $5,000 is a lot for that position to conduct a recruitment, so.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thanks for taking the initiative and getting those posted on a few different sites. Anything else? Is that it? Do you have anything else?
There's a question on the phone.
Yeah, no, let me check with the administration first. So is that it? Okay. Councilmember Casagrande, I'll get to you next. Councilmember McClure.
Okay, since we have the Public Works Director here, I looked in here and I didn't find it, but are you going to do a reminder for folks about which sides of the street to park on because of plowing? Is that still in effect this winter? And you might just make that reminder again or in the paper or something?
Sure, and I saw it's been advertised on Facebook on some other spots, people have put it on themselves.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll put some more flyers out and put it in next month's, or next meeting's deal. I don't.
Hi, how are you?
Is this pertaining to this?
Yes,
Okay.
it's specifically.
Okay.
We spent a lot of time last year putting together that New Year's thing, and then, it was really promoting everybody to not drive home. And then the next day, there was a bunch of people that had gotten tickets, and granted, they should have read the signs. Just please, I don't know how much more we can do and how we can help people remember those important things to clear those streets, because I know we have those big berms that always end up downtown.
I'll check to see what day New Year's is too.
Yeah, thank you.
To be sure, but yeah.
That's good. Okay, go ahead.
Since you're standing there, I want to direct people in the packet, if you're at home, on pages 13 and 14, there's a very nice historical discussion about Mary Lowell that our Public Works Director put in as a result of our trying to redo her grave marker, her headstone out at Woodlawn, and I want to thank you for that.
So, Councilmember Casagrande on the phone, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I was just wondering if in the manager's report, when you get the expenditures between $5,000 and $15,000, if we could have the vendors listed there as well, please.
So, Councilmember Casagrande, actually, we worked with the city attorney and there was an issue with putting the vendors, so let's discuss offline. And that's why that format's been changed, but that's a very good point. Let's talk about that offline. Thank you. Councilmember Cease?
Yes, I had a couple of people call me from Public Works. Stand up again, sir. What is the North Cell Park that a couple of years ago we had problems with that? Has that been fixed?
With the what?
The north cell, it broke and was not fixed from about 2 years ago. I didn't know what it meant. I'm just saying
Oh,
that's
you must be talking about the lagoon.
not the lagoon out here. This is the north cell.
Well, there's it has two cells, so it'd be
Okay,
this
it's the north
north
one.
end or the south end.
Oh,
is,
okay.
It's divided in half by a concrete wall and
Oh, okay.
kind of
Has that been
liner that
fixed
goes
on the
through
north cell then?
yeah, and all those repairs were done. And we do have another one right now that we had a broken air line that we have drained down the lagoon. We're a good 10 feet down now. We're have the guy coming on Monday or Tuesday, whichever day it is, he's coming in next week to get a good eyeball on everything, see what he needs to fix it, and then he'll be back down the following Monday, Tuesday to do the repairs.
Okay, and I understand the smell's really bad out there now.
Yeah,
Again.
well, it was just the other day, we did get some calls and we went out and did some more sodium nitrate spray on it. Yeah, I mean, when it's going down, you're definitely getting some residue on the liner on the outside. We're trying to get it fixed as quick as we can, and hopefully we'll spray some more, and we certainly get the calls and try to take care of it when we do. So.
Well, with these winds that we've been having too, if you don't maybe keep it wet, all that dry stuff is going in the air. That stuff that's I think that makes the smell a lot worse. And we're breathing in, the poop that's out there.
So we'll hope for some rain and snow to help us out a little bit.
So
I did have one more
Acting
item,
City
Madam Mayor, I'm sorry. So the Boys and Girls Club has contacted me today, and there's an auction this Saturday, and it's an online auction, kind of virtual, and they're looking for 8 City of Sewer participants to register for it, and they can bid on items, that sort of thing. So it's going to be on, I think the clerk said you're going to put it on the Parks and Rec website, so you can go on there and get the link, and then to go on there if you want to vote for items that people donated for the Boys and Girls Club. Thank you.
I'll look around and see if there's any other comments. Councilmember Casagrande, did you have any further comments?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Thank you. I have 2, go ahead, I'll let you go first.
Okay, I just don't know if this is the place to do it, but the reimbursement for the Wells Fargo for Lieutenant Nichols, I just saw on the bottom of one page, is this the place to talk about it? It's on page 34. It's just reimbursements.
I'm not sure what it's pertaining to.
Okay, well, you'll see all his lists from his credit card or...
Oh, that's,
That's what I don't know if this is...
Oh, so, under page 34, that has to do with a grant that we've already accepted within the,
No, that isn't what I'm asking. All these other ones, Colton wrote on here, dispatch training material, latex gloves.
Yep.
The one on the bottom, one, it doesn't print what it's for. And I'm just wondering what the $199 was at Home Depot, where it's gonna go.
that's already
So,
passed until
yeah, so we passed that already, so let's talk about that online. So we passed that when we passed that resolution 2020-088.
Okay, so we'll talk about where it went afterwards. I just
Yeah.
wondered where it went. What general
So-
ledger number?
Okay. So that would be a question, because when we passed that resolution, that was the backup for that grant fund. Okay. Did you have a comment, Vice Mayor?
I just wanted to be clear on the city manager recruitment, that we are still, GovHR is still looking for a city manager applicant. It's just we're not going to pay extra right now for the extra,
For the finance director?
yes.
Yes, they're still going to be going looking for the city manager, but not for the finance director.
Okay, yeah, because I think it was like, I was a little confused,
So
so,
that's
I
a
was
perfect segue to what I wanted to bring up.
okay.
So we are holding off on the finance director at this point, but the first meeting in December, if we need to revisit going to GovHR to look for a finance director, you will bring that back to us.
Correct.
Correct.
What I wanted to bring up under this manager's report is GovHR did get some materials back to us and also a timeline. It's not on the agenda tonight, we're not making any decisions, but I did want to look around and see if council wants to have another work session to discuss the timeline and look at the backup, or if we want to just have a committee of 3 members to look at everything and start moving forward with some of the items. I mean, we've already made the decision as a council to use GovHR. There just are some decisions that, just back and forth with them that administration probably needs a little guidance. So I guess I'll look around and see if do folks want to have a work session? I'll look at Councilmember Osenga first, or to have
Well,
a
I just have a
committee.
question of what it is you're referring to, that's simply because...
So we-
No, I understand we're
Yeah.
talking about this, but
Yeah.
we're trying to figure out what you're referencing as far as what the questions are
So the questions are the proposed schedule.
on the proposed schedule.
Very last page.
Okay.
And the questions, we do have some, text in front of us. If we want to take a look at the text that was previously put out,
Right.
take another look at that. If we want to look at, one thing I wanted to talk about was, the pay that we're putting out there, the ad source list, to take a look at the ad list, just to review what they're doing for us this time. Did you have a comment?
No.
Okay, thank you. I'll go to Councilmember Demas.
I would suggest a work session. I just think it's such an important position that we're hiring for, and I think we could all probably contribute to what we're asking in this.
Councilmember, Vice Mayor?
I would recommend a committee, just because I think there are other council members that have participated in hiring, like Councilmember Osenga, Councilmember McClure, and then maybe they could just bring those recommendations back rather than having a whole work session, since we have a lot of them. I think because most of it is outlined here, just to look at more like what the mayor said, to address the pay that goes out, what the salary range is, the timeline, and those things. I think we can do a committee and then bring it back to the council, either for approval or at a special meeting on another work session. I just feel like another work session on top of all the other ones we have, it is a little redundant.
So I'll keep asking opinions, Councilmember McClure.
I think at this point, a committee would be okay, because we discuss it amongst ourselves. We could bring, if the committee could meet before our next meeting and have a discussion item at the next meeting.
Okay.
Just a thought, I think.
So we will bring it back to the November 23rd meeting. Councilmember Casagrande, did you have strong feelings for a committee versus a work session?
I don't have a preference either way. I've been approached by a couple of constituents that would really like to be a part of the hiring process. Some local professionals that feel that, they're much better at reading interviews and conducting interviews than maybe some of us on council. So I guess, I don't know if a work session would cover getting the public involved to the level that they want to be, or if the committee could be sure to somehow make sure that I guess I could just tell those constituents to lobby those committee members as well. That's what I've received.
Okay, Councilmember Cease, did you have any preference? Councilmember, or Vice Mayor McClure, jeez, I'm losing it. Vice Member Baclan.
I don't necessarily want to be a part of the committee. I have a lot of, but I think one thing that I think Councilmember Casagrande mentioned is for the public to be involved. And I was involved the last time when we had the meeting with the potential 2 candidates, and I don't see this on here, so that's one of the concerns that I would have. But I do think a committee would be more nimble and able to meet rather than schedule another meeting. So I think the best way would be a committee, and then maybe just have some suggestions to email or to pass around to that.
So, I think the majority of folks are saying we'll have an item on our November 23rd council meeting. And then, are there any folks, Councilmember DeMoss, did you want to be on the committee? Or
Yeah, I would love to be on the committee.
Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to be on the committee? I would like to. Oh, go ahead. Councilmember Casagrande?
I'd like to be on the committee.
So just to be clear, the only thing this committee is doing is looking at the timeline, looking at the questions, and then looking at the text that's going out. So it's not really even dealing with, are you still interested in that, Councilmember Casagrande?
Absolutely.
Okay. Are you fine with that?
I'm fine.
I just have one question.
Yeah.
I just want, I don't know, I mean, you could probably meet over the phone or virtually, but if maybe we could have Councilmember McClure as an alternate to serve on that committee, just in case Councilmember Casagrande can't attend or is still out of town.
I would be there.
Okay, that sounds good. So the committee consists of, unless there's any objections, Councilmember DeMoss, Councilmember Casagrande. I would like to be involved, and then Councilmember McClure is the backup. So I'll look to administration if maybe you can help using Vienna. I mean, I would like to meet, we probably need to meet this week if we're going to have something. So maybe see if we can get our schedules together for Thursday or Friday. Does that sound good?
Absolutely.
Okay. And then we'll bring it back to council on the 23rd. Okay, are there any more comments regarding, I'll just highlight, because I've had a couple phone calls on this already. So there is going to be a work session. It's a planning and zoning work session regarding the Jesse Lee home, November 27th at 6 p.m. 17th, excuse me. November 17th at 6 p.m. So it'll be on YouTube. And then there'll be a survey coming out of the clerk's office?
Community Development Office.
Okay, survey.
We'll be going through the clerk's office, but they got a survey to go through the clerk's office. They have to go
Okay,
through-
and that'll be publicly noticed through the clerk's public notice process?
I believe so.
Okay. Okay, I know this time of COVID, we just need to make sure that the community gets involved. And then, I don't know if it's public, but on page 6 of our packet, when we talk about personnel transactions, the police chief has tenured, he's going to be retiring. So that hiring process is starting when, and what's that going to look like?
For the police chief,
Yeah,
I believe it will start being advertised tomorrow,
okay.
and then we'll go from there.
Okay, and so if there's going to be in-house applicants, my only concern is, I know that the process. So, I guess my preference would be to see those applications run through the clerk's office. Or is there a system
Goes through
set
HR.
up? Well, so that's my concern. Because when we
Oh,
have,
so
All the applicants are
it's
going to
going
meet.
through him, I'm sorry, yeah. He's taking over because of the HR, he's going to be receiving all the applicants.
okay, so all the applications will not be going through HR at all. They'll be going straight to the assistant city manager.
Correct.
Okay. Councilmember,
Do we have an acting police chief, or will we be appointing one during this time?
so I believe Lieutenant Nickel is currently the acting chief and he will continue.
Okay.
Is
Correct.
that correct? Okay,
Correct.
thank you. Any other comments?
Yeah, I don't know if we need to vote on this or not, but I would still like the applications to go straight to the clerk.
Councilmember Osenga?
Is this somebody that we hired as a council?
Yes, we have final approval on this position.
Well,
Correct.
Madam Mayor, just to be, so working with the city attorney through the code and everything, so that part of the code that says that council approves those positions is actually illegal because the.
No, I'm not, this is what I'm gonna say right now. This is exactly the issue with the election. We do not decide elections, but we absolutely are the check and balance on the election, just like this last time. There was an issue, there was an abnormality with the election. It is not illegal. It's just like at the federal level with the Supreme Court, and we are not doing this. We are not doing this because it looks shady. I'm not doing this. It is in our code. It is perfectly legal. We are not playing this game. And that's why we're being sure those positions do come to council for approval.
Okay, Madam Mayor.
Yep. I knew this was going to start, and we're not doing this. Next on the agenda, other reports and announcements. Port and Commerce Advisory Board Annual Report by Chair Laura Schneider. Laura?
May I just have a seat here?
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. You have my written report in the packet. I made this report more narrative than in times past because I really wanted to give the highlights of some of the work that the board has been doing and give you some of the conclusions that we've reached, even though sometimes those don't come to you in resolution form. So I'm not going to hash out all of the specifics that are already in the report, but I do have a few things I'd like to add since the time that this was passed. So as far as the climate action plan goes, the cohort, which was hoping to get funding for all of the individual communities looking to build climate action plans, has gotten a little stalled because the funding that was available is now being redirected towards COVID resources. Completely understandable. But what that means is that it's falling back on the community to write this plan on our own and to look for our own funding if we need it. So we're going to have kind of a reorganization meeting tomorrow night, Tuesday at 6 p.m. It's being hosted by the Chamber of Commerce on Zoom. That's been put out via the clerk's office, but anyone who does not have a link to that or who has not seen that, I would encourage you to call the Chamber of Commerce and they can email you a link to join that meeting. Again, this is going to be a pretty informal meeting, just getting people together, seeing who's process over this winter of getting this going again, because we have kind of stalled out and we really don't want to lose the momentum that we have. I know there's a lot of people really looking forward to getting this done. We had a really good meeting talking about the heat pump rebate program, and you'll see a letter from me in not your next packet, probably not the one after that. I need to have the letter approved by the board, and that will be at our December meeting. But upcoming, you'll see kind of an update to the resolution we already passed last year about the heat pump rebate program with our renewed recommendations based on the current economics of it. Also, the AML conference being held online this year, one really good part of that is that 3 of our members are registered to attend portions of the event, and so we're really excited to have that opportunity for more of our board to be able to attend at less of a cost to the city. So we're really grateful for that opportunity. Also, upcoming is that we're planning to hold an energy workshop or workshops. This is meant to be in place of the Energy Fair, which the Chamber sponsored for many years, and then it kind of died out for lack of participation. But what the board has decided is the real goal of that is community outreach. It's to help community members reduce their energy costs, and that's what the board wants to find a way to do. But in our discussions, we realized that we don't really know in this time what the best and most equitable way is to reach people and to reach the right people, the people that we're, we don't just want to speak to council, we don't just want to speak to people who have a computer and can do Zoom. We want to speak to all the community members, and so we're planning to put out a survey, again, helped by the Chamber. They're going to help us put together a survey that will be posted for the community members to fill out. We're also going to put it in the newspaper about how people would like to receive these resources, what would be the best way to get them out, and also what topics people are most interested in and where we can get the most community engagement. So we're really looking forward to that, and then hopefully next year starting up some other version of an in-person energy workshop, something that's maybe not multiple days long, but an afternoon where people can come together, learn information, maybe meet vendors, learn more about how they can reduce their energy bills and help them through the winter. That's all I have. If you have any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Are there any questions for the chair? Councilmember Casagrande, do you have any questions for the Port and Commerce Advisory Board Chair?
No,
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Not a question, but I just want to thank you so much. It is my pleasure to serve as your liaison to council, and I really appreciate the work that all of the commissioners do, individually and as a group collectively. And it's really fun to be a part of your board and the great work that you all are doing right now. So thank you so much for your service.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I just have a comment. Port and Commerce Advisory Board is absolutely one of the workhorse boards that we have. You guys do a ton of work and get a lot done. I did want to mention that I had a conversation with Cook Inlet Tug and Barge today, and they would like to talk to the board and administration more about the vessel tax. I know that you guys have been working on that, and I just wanted to bring up again that when we had that joint marine meeting with the chamber this last spring, that vessel tax was one of the things on the top of the list as being a barrier to economic development in Seward. So I wonder if we could just revisit that a little bit, and I know you looked at it once, twice. Ron Long looked at it for a long time, and I know the barrier was the borough not wanting to change their software to collect the flat tax, but again, Homer does it. The borough's required to collect our tax. So, I'm not saying that, I'm not saying it's something we have to do, but maybe let's take another look at it and get some more, continue to get some more input.
Yeah, and so Madam Mayor, what our current recommendation is based on is the fact that in the current economic environment, taking a $160,000 hit to the general fund didn't seem like a prudent move in this year, but we are continuing to keep it on our agenda for next year because we would like to revisit it. We got some really good information thanks to the harbor master this year. We finally got to see what those numbers actually look like, what it looks like compared to other communities. And we decided that in the short term, because we are not necessarily losing business due to that flat tax at this time, that we didn't think it was prudent to make a change. But we will continue to keep that on our priorities.
And that's, maybe we need to just make sure we aren't losing business. And, it's sometimes mixing apples and oranges when we have enterprise funds versus general fund, but, I just know that we have a big, there might be in the private sector businesses going down, so we need to make sure that there's no barriers to their economic recovery.
Right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
good. All right, any other comments? Thank you, Laura. Thanks for coming tonight.
Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the Planning and Zoning Commission Annual Report, and that came to us as a laydown right before the meeting.
Tom Swan will be on the phone together as well.
Oh, Tom Swan's right here.
Don't call him. I don't go up there, and I didn't see him anymore.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Thanks for having me. So I'll give you just quick, you guys just got that laid down, as I did, since Cindy is in the borough tonight. Cindy Eklund, our chair. So we did miss about 3 months of COVID, trying to figure out how to do things. But in the early part of the year, we had work sessions. In the early part of the year, we had really worked on trying to get a jump on the 2030 comprehensive plan. And our plan was to break up the land areas of Seward into 6 major groups. So you had small residences north of 3rd, west of 3rd, you have downtown, harbor, large lot residences out to the north, SMIC, and try and get community development looking at a small area and deciding what we needed to do with it. Because every time we do a comprehensive plan, we're looking at the whole city. We just thought if we jump on it early. Well, COVID hit, we got going on it, it stalled out. We also started working on the walkable murals. So these are the public meetings or work sessions where we get public input. We got back onto it in June, July, August. We worked on the communication towers. October, November, we worked on a couple exciting things. We're working with the Bear Creek floodplain management on beach revitalization. And because they have an issue with especially Japanese Creek and other areas where they have sediment accumulating and they don't know where to take it. And we have beaches that are eroding and can use some sediment. And so we're working on the permitting process so we can start getting sediment moved from places in the valley that we don't want it to someplace we do want it. Anyway, that's kind of exciting. We're also working with, we had our first meeting with the Historic Preservation Commission concerning the downtown historic district and working on some ideas on how we can protect our historic look. And of course, December, we just talked about it. We're having a work session on the use of the Jesse Lee home. And that will be, that's of course advertised because it is a P&Z work session. Several resolutions came through this year. We had one variance. The Charles McIndowie, I'm not pronouncing that right, house just north of the post office, 3 conditional use permits. Polar Seafood had membrane structures were extended another year. Sockeye Marine Services needed a conditional use for a bunkhouse over in SMIC, and John Weisel for a mixed-use office building with apartments down here on 5th Avenue. A couple of rezonings. We had an R1 to multifamily, R3 out in Forest Acres, and then of course we had the R3 to central business over here on 5th Avenue. One replat came through, dedicated right-of-way and utility easements. That's the McDonald's property out on Nash Road. We brought forward one code change for the communication towers. Code changes to Title 15 communication towers. And last, we had a resolution that we just changed the name of Rush Loop to Dunham Drive. So that's a quick synopsis of what we went through. You guys have any questions?
Councilmember?
Do you still have a vacancy on the board?
We do.
Should be announced.
That should be announced.
There's a vacancy on the board.
There is a
I
vacancy
mean, there
on
is
the
an
board.
announcement, but since there's an audience, you know.
Vice Mayor?
I did have a question. I have been concerned ever since the first meetings about the beach revitalization. I know that I saw one of your meetings online. I think it was a joint work session with the Bear Creek Flood Service Area Board. Was that cost of moving the materials, was that established yet?
Well, that's one of the areas that we're working with. I mean, right now, if I understand it properly, just moving earth cost a certain amount. And if we can get the proper permitting, then some of that, we don't have to actually pay for the sediment, which goes to, I guess, the state. And so that can bring down the cost. But I mean, the real idea is that when we get in these situations where this stuff has to be moved anyway, that's when it can really be useful. I mean, if you think about our outflow over here, every once in a while we have so much stuff, we've got to move it. Well, if we have the permitting, we can move it right down to the beach. And, you know, and get the infrastructure set up so that we can do that type of thing.
Vice Mayor?
And moving it compared to taking it somewhere else to dispose of it, or what's, I guess would be my question, and you don't have to answer it now, but maybe in a further conversation, if you were to move it, to take it somewhere else, you know, what would that?
Well, that's the problem. I mean, you don't dispose of earth, you move it. I'm not sure what you're asking.
So when you move it, where do you move it to, and does it cost anything?
It does cost.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it can't be moved, and that creates a problem with the floodplain management, because they're saying, well, we can't, or we don't have the money to move it. I mean, I think a lot of the earth coming from the outflow goes to the waste facility, transfer station.
So if we were to take it down to the beach, we wouldn't have to.
Well, they'd be a shorter move.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, we have our public works director sitting in the back of the room. Did you want to answer that, or?
Sure. Can I answer it from here?
Yeah.
From here, okay? Yeah, there is a cost, and when we don't take anything from this outfall out there. This is typically something that, if we've got to move it, we're really looking for a partner to move it. They pay for the moving. We've partnered with the railroad, we've partnered with other entities that are able to take that product during these emergency removal. But down here, we don't move it ourselves. It's whoever will load them up if they got the trucks and pay for all the moving. So that's how we've been disposing or moving this material. Different story, Jap Creek over there, and As far as the outfall, no, we're either pushing out what's there and it goes right into the bay as everything's happening, and whatever gets piled up there is moved locally by others. We'll, if it's a big thing going on, we'll go help load, but we're working on those permits on how, but we don't haul it. We don't take it out there. There isn't a cost. The trucking isn't a pretty big cost to truck it, and yes, it would be more of a cost all the way out to the landfill, but we don't take any out. That's been coming from other areas, from Sawmill Creek and stuff.
Any other questions? Councilmember Casa Grande, did you have any questions?
No, I don't.
I might just ask one question. Do you know what the topic, I mean, I know it's going to be talking about the Jesse Lee home, but do you know what aspects? Is it zoning? Is it what's going to be on the site? Do you know? Or is it just in general?
You're talking about this next meeting?
Yeah, the work session.
It's just an open discussion on what people think it should be.
Okay.
It's just, right now, I think we're just looking at ideas to get an idea of what the public wants.
Right.
And then, from there, then we have some directions to go.
Outstanding. Thank you so much. Last chance?
I just want to thank you for all your work that you do, and I really enjoy being a commissioner on planning and zoning, and I'm really thankful for the opportunity to get my feet wet and have you and Chair Eklund kind of show me the ropes. So I just wanted to thank you for that and all the work that you do, and I think that you have some exciting ideas coming up as well, working with the Historic Preservation Society. So.
Well, thank you. We
And
miss you.
Thank you. I'm going to be working as the liaison as well.
Oh, okay,
so you're
excellent.
not really getting rid of me yet.
So, Councilmember DeMoss, would you recommend that people volunteer to serve on the planning and
So,
zoning commission?
honestly, it was really, really fun, and I enjoyed it quite a bit and didn't even realize how much fun I was going to have. And there are several people that are interested in the vacancy that have told me that they're thinking about it. So,
Good.
I think that there's some good people that are willing and thinking about getting involved.
Good. Thank you so much for coming tonight. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, we're all the way down to other new business. Number 2, schedule a work session with U.S. Army Corps of Engineers regarding the Lowell Canyon Tunnel feasibility study. And I know I definitely want to see more public input and notice, so I'll turn it over to you guys.
So I spoke with Bruce Sexauer from the Corps the other day, and he's certainly available and interested in providing council with an update with some more information. The Corps and administration spent some time with the Sea Life Center just to follow up on additional questions that they had and put most of those to rest. But definitely excited to schedule a work session, and the Corps, I'll be in touch with them tomorrow with whatever date council would like to see take place.
And I'll say I did attend one of those Zoom meetings. There was one that Flood Board put on and one that the city put on, and I did attend one of those. I think the piece of information that maybe the public needs more information is the actual outfall piece, which they did do a great job talking to the Sea Life Center. That was just my preference. I don't know, is it council agreement that we would like to have just a work session with the Corps to talk about what tunnel items? Does that sound good? Are there any dates we want to throw out there? I think an hour will more than cover it. We have a work session on the 16th already. The 23rd we have a work session and then a special meeting to follow. Do we want to look what do people's schedules look like? We could either do the 30th of December. I know at least one council member has a conflict. Do we want to look at the 7th of December?
Sure.
7th of December? What's a good time? 6, 7?
The usual 6.
6 o'clock? So could you check and see if they might be available at 6 o'clock on December 7th?
Okay.
Mayor Chair,
Yes?
I won't be here on the 7th either. I leave on the 3rd.
Okay, you're leaving on the 3rd. Did you, do you want to shoot for earlier? I mean, we could do Wednesday the 2nd?
But currently we're still under emergency order, so you could attend telephonically. I know you're gonna go see a doctor and possibly have surgery, but
I would be available on the 7th.
You would?
Yeah, for
Okay.
phone, yeah.
Okay. Councilmember Casagrande, it looks like we're landing on the 7th. Are there any major objections to that date? Hearing none. Did I hear?
I think she said there's not.
Oh, there's not, okay. Thank you. So let's shoot for December 7th at 6. Madam Clerk, did you need a vote, or we just generally agree to that date and time, and then?
I'll follow back up
Yeah.
and just confirm.
Yeah, just in case.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Next on the agenda is an item I put on, discuss Port and Commerce Advisory Board recommendation for reporting on the interconnect policy. This is not me micromanaging the electric department or PACCAB. I did have a reach out from their vice chair. I was working with the chair, and she's still here if there's any questions, but I do watch those meetings. I know Vice Mayor Buckland is our liaison, but I was asked to bring this forward, so I did. We've been working on this interconnect policy for a long time. The current acting electric utility manager actually came up with these tasks, came up with a timeline, but we wanted to check back in with council. I think PACCAB was worried about getting too far afield if council wasn't supporting this moving forward. So I don't know if folks have any questions for me or questions about the interconnect policy, Vice Mayor?
I don't have a question, but I have a comment. I did attend this meeting. I think the timeline that was set up, the interim utility director said that he thought it was an agreeable timeline and that it may be possible that he could achieve these goals before the timeline deadline. So it was a generous timeline. So I would agree that I think this is good to keep our finger on it and make sure that it's getting done for all of the concerns that the community has had for quite a while. Not kicking the can down any further and making sure we're just monitoring it. But I think Mr. Borgeson said that it was a very workable timeline.
Councilmember Casagrande, I'll give you a shout out if you had any questions or comments.
No, I do not.
Thank you. Anyone in the room? So, Councilmember Osenga?
So you're looking for like having a presentation at a meeting? Is that what you're thinking?
I think that it's just periodic check-ins.
Just period, okay.
Yeah, so it won't be necessarily a presentation. What'll happen is that electric utility manager has been working quite closely with PACCAB, and then PACCAB will either be making reports back to us, or the electric utility manager will put something in the manager's report,
Oh, okay.
just to keep us updated.
That's what I'm, yeah, that's what, okay,
Yeah,
that's fine.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think PACCAB just wants a stamp of approval that council, it's a lot of work, so they wanted to make sure that they had our approval. So seeing no objections, that is moving forward. Next on the agenda is something I put on also, oh no, I'm sorry, this one isn't mine. Schedule a work session to review and discuss the water and sewer rate study results. So I will turn that over to administration.
Doug is here for that.
Thank you.
Finally getting to the end through this whole season and the different administrative changes we've had over the last couple of years. We're getting to the end of the rate study for the water sewer. There's some really good information. Our consultant has done an excellent job to have it. We'll have some presentations. We'd like to schedule a work session to go through a public work session within a couple weeks or so, maybe 3. Ideally, the sooner the better. That's if we can get agreement, we can then implement. But coming to the first year is going to be pretty hard to implement to the first of the year, and based on all the work sessions you guys already have, I don't know where we can fit one hardly. But what we need on that is a good public work session. But prior, we've discussed some training, more informational things with 2 council members at a time, so you guys can all talk to your constituents a little more informed when you go talk to them. So then when we come back to the work session later, we're all going to make good progress on things and know what we're looking instead of just being an introduction. So that's what I'm hoping, is to have those. I've talked to a few, and I think that we've got some consensus on a couple. I had heard from that maybe Vice Mayor and Councilmember, oh, here we go. Oh, she's got a sign-up sheet, but we had you two maybe paired that you wanted to pair, and I had heard that from Councilmember Casagrande that she would like to pair with Councilmember Cease, and then she may have to call in for if she's not here on that date. But then with each two council members, so that would leave McClure and Osenka, sorry.
It's okay.
To be paired together, and then Mayor, you could join in on one of these two, and I think that they already scheduled maybe Stephen to join in with Vice Mayor, and then we'll have Norm jump in on one and you jump in on one. So however that's scheduled, but if we have, right now we had Thursday at 9 a.m. was the first one we had set up. And what this will be is a call-in, and ideally right here from council chambers, and hopefully hook up where we have the big TV here, and we can spread out and be able to just see the big picture. He'll do a PowerPoint for us, takes half hour, a little more depending on questions going through, and then a little time for questions afterwards.
This Thursday at 9 a.m.
9 a.m. was, we have this first group.
Okay.
And then he's very, very open. Our consultant, he's in Florida, but this is what he does. He says, if you guys want a 6 p.m. one, that's 10 p.m. for him. He's more than happy to do that. During the mornings, afternoons, so wherever we schedule in. So if Osenga, McClure, and maybe you or Norm or whoever joins that one, I'd love to do them Thursday, Friday, if it's at all possible. They're about, like I said, about an hour.
Okay, so Thursday,
The chambers are,
yeah, Thursday the chambers in the evening are taken, but during the day.
They are not taken. It was rescheduled to
Okay.
the 19th.
Okay,
Oh.
okay, thank you. So anyone have availability on this Thursday or Friday?
how about Thursday noon?
Yeah,
You get off work?
I can get up,
Thursday noon?
well, that's my lunch hour, yeah.
Thursday noon, 9 noon, and then Councilmember Casagrande and Councilmember Cease, is there a time on Thursday or Friday?
I'm open, Councilmember Steve can pick a time.
When do you come back? Chrissy?
I'll be attending electronically.
Okay.
So it's Thursday, this Thursday or Friday?
So you would do one at noon and then one at 1 o'clock, is that what you,
Probably 2,
or
right?
2?
Yeah, wherever we can do Thursday or Friday, whichever works best for you.
I can do either one of them.
Okay, so if we did
I
it
don't want
Thursday
9
and got
o'clock in the
it
morning.
Thursday at 2?
Thursday at 2 for that one.
Okay.
That would be Cease. And Councilmember Casagrande will get you a dial-in. Hopefully, I don't know if you've got computer access, so you could do the WebEx, then you can see exactly what we're all talking about. Otherwise, I'll
Ooh.
send you a packet anyway.
I do have access.
Okay, good.
I'll try to attend the noon if that's fine.
Okay.
And then let's talk about a work session for the community. How much further in the future do you want to have that work session?
December 7th?
December 7th at 7?
That might be a little quick. I'd like to, ideally, I want to give you guys all time to be able to talk to other folks a little bit. You know, you know who's maybe questioned you before about rate studies. There's some changes that was in with going more to meters on most business things. So we want you to be able to go through these information sessions, then be able to have a little time to discuss it with others. But I don't want to get it so far out that it just gets kind of dummied down or you lose what you were
So
trying to remember.
That would be 3.5 weeks out. So you think that's too far or not far enough, or?
Actually, if we can make that, I'm okay with doing that, the 7th. So
Yeah,
it's
but it wouldn't be till 7 o'clock at night, which would be East Coast time for him. Right? Is
doing it
that
right
Me
after.
too.
Oh, we have the
Oh,
other one.
yeah.
Right?
We have that other work session at 6.
He's good either way. I think to do any of them, it's just a matter of.
What if we did it
We could do a
earlier?
5 to 7 on the 7th and then do the other thing is the core, putting them kind of late would be hard too. I don't know, I don't have a strong feeling. We could do December 3rd, it's a Thursday.
I'm in flight then.
Oh, you're in flight.
How about the 9th?
The 9th?
You can do Wednesdays.
I can do Wednesdays.
That's why I was thinking the 9th.
5 o'clock on the 9th, 5:30 on the 9th, 5:30? I'm looking at Councilmember Osenga, 5:30?
5:30, yeah.
Okay.
5:30 work session, and that's for water sewer. Okay. So, I'll look to the Public Works Director. Do you think that's going to be acceptable for him?
Yeah, I do believe it is. So, just so I've got it right, and I'll give this to the clerk too, but what I've got down is on this Thursday at 9 o'clock, Baclawn, DeMoss, and Sewell. And then we've got at noon, Osenga, McClure, and Mayor Terry. And then at 2 o'clock, Cease, Casa Grande, and Acting City Manager Regis, if you can make it then too.
Did you have a question? Ms.?
Yes, I just wanted to know, because we're dealing with like that tight, that 3.5 weeks out, is there any way that either the packet for that work session, do you have that ready, or does that need more time? Just so that we can get it out to the public and then get that feedback more, a little bit easier. I don't know if, I'm not rushing you, I'm just asking if it's possible and if it's already prepared or not. And
it is.
Okay.
And we plan to give that to you, go through the meeting with you and also have it out, say even to Councilmember Casa Grande, all of you, to have it just prior to that meeting. But then we'll have it on screen, it'll be more live where he's going through it.
And then I think what the Vice Mayor's saying is maybe after that, like even as early as next week, could we get that work session packet published so that the public has a long time?
I want to give it to you Thursday.
Yeah, just generally to the public.
Yeah, and that can go out.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure, I mean, it can go on the website if that's how we
Great,
want to do
yeah.
it, so it can be there. It gives you guys a paper and maybe a digital copy to have with you. And sure, we could put that on the website, so if they wanted to download it and look, there's certainly some different pages to the worksheet. It's a workbook. And so some of that is a little confusing to just try to get into. But yeah, we'll get with them and get a good look for everybody, so you can hopefully generate some questions, and hopefully it's positive and folks like what we're trying to do. We're really trying to make it simple. The more simple we can make the rates, the whole program, the better. And we want it simple for finance to be able to deal with. That front counter shouldn't have to decide what a half ERU and quarter and all these different things. It should be a simple, easy setup, and that's what we're trying to get to.
KISS? Keep it simple. That sounds great. Well, thank you. I know that's a long time and a lot of work that COVID interrupted, so thanks for all your work on that. Next on the agenda is discuss safety on the Seward Highway Turnagain Pass plowing initiative. So turn to page 66. So this didn't quite make our last council meeting, but in October, a large citizen group, including Anchorage folks, people on the Kenai Peninsula, started a letter writing campaign and had a specific letter and had a number of parties sign it. So we have since missed that deadline to be included in the original letter. However, they are still taking signatures to that letter for furtherance when they start talking about the budget process in Juneau. We did a resolution talking about Turnagain Arm and its importance to our community last year with Resolution 2019-087. Why would we join this initiative? Because there's power in numbers. So as we stand out, so council passed that resolution, actually acting city manager Norm Regis took it with him to Juneau, personally delivered it to Capitol Hill. But with this process, we're joining a larger group of economic benefit, sports enthusiasts, talking about the safety in making sure that those areas are plowed for recreation with COVID, being outside. So I brought this to us to, they're still taking signatures to that original letter. So I would like to have the city's name included on that original letter. And also, there's an ability to join an email group to receive the updates and how Seward can continue to support this initiative. So I wanted to bring this to council just to make sure that council did approve of adding our name to this larger joint group and then having administration track it. So I don't know if there's any comments or questions or objections. I think we also might look at having another resolution later when Juno's looking at the budget, but this is just a good place to start. Any questions?
So
Okay.
we're signing this part of this?
Yeah,
thing?
so I did include the sample letter in here. Over 1,600 people have already signed it, so it just, and cities, so it would just be adding our name to this letter and then just tracking this issue as it moves forward.
Okay, so it's just the letter down here to Dunley?
Yeah, the
Okay.
letter went directly to Governor Dunleavy.
Okay.
So I'll check with Councilmember Casagrande. Do you have any objections or comments, Councilmember?
I think it's a great idea and I support it 100%.
Any comments at the, yes?
I'm just wondering if they can have the clerk's office just give us the letter. This is so,
Too tiny, sorry.
yeah, I'd have to cut this and cut that out, so maybe.
I found this online, so I'll make sure to email it to you.
Okay,
Okay.
appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Please do it to my personal.
Okay. Next on the agenda is informational items and reports. There's just one item. So the city clerk report on public records. Does council have any comments or questions? No. Next on the agenda is citizen comments. Madam Clerk, do we have any citizens signed up for comments?
We do not.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is council and administration comments and response to the no citizen comments. I'll start off with administration. Does administration have any comments?
No comments.
Thank you. We'll start with Councilmember Casagrande. Do you have council comments?
Can you get me, I'm looking for my comments, did I go back to?
I'll come back to you. We'll leave last for the vice mayor. Councilmember Demas.
Yeah, just a couple quick things. I had the opportunity to tour the Sea Life Center this week, which was really cool, and just wanted to remind everyone that they're doing free Thursdays this year for Alaska residents. And also, as the planning and zoning liaison, I attended the work session with the Historical Preservation Society and Planning and Zoning, and they're looking at kind of doing some interesting things with the historical district, expanding it, looking at giving Historical Preservation Society a little bit more responsibility with design and architecture and changing some code regarding that. So I'm glad I'm going to be keeping up with P&Z and being a part of that. And then they also discussed the Jesse Lee home rezone. They were going to try to rezone it from park to from R3 to park, and decided to postpone that and have the public work session so people can kind of get their input.
Yeah.
So, and then today I did the NEL conference, which I feel like I learned a lot, and I'll be doing that again tomorrow. That's all.
Great, thank you for attending. Councilmember Osenga.
I just want to thank everyone for their presentation, the Planning and Zoning Commission for their presentation or their report, and administration for all the work that has gone on behind the scenes here. Would like to say just everyone be nice out there, and also to please everyone take care of yourselves, take care of others, please wear your mask, your facial coverings, please social distance. We do have active cases in this town, and I think it's more important now than ever that we need to really observe and just be safe with each other. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Cease?
Well, first off, I want to ask Liz, is that all day Thursdays? Did you get a
All day
tour?
Thursdays, I believe, yes.
Did you get a tour from somebody there, or you
Yes.
just went around?
I went and had a tour as a new council member.
Oh,
And so they
okay.
did give me the behind the scenes tour, which was really cool.
Behind
Highly
the
recommend
scenes.
it. I was happy for days.
Yeah.
I guess,
Okay.
yeah.
So
She
that's
said people would
nice.
be jealous and if they were to call her.
Yeah, so it's nice that, and the public can go then on Thursdays too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, for
Yeah.
free. And I want to thank everybody for their hard work, especially our acting city manager. I'm sure he's awful busy with both sides going. And Doug for coming and talking about his. And also Tom Swan coming. I appreciate that. And it will be interesting to go into the deal on the water sewer rates. I'm looking forward to that. Thanks everybody for being here and be safe. I agree.
Thank you. Councilmember Casagrande, are you ready yet?
I did, I found it.
Thank you.
So much. So, as most of you know, I'm here in Las Vegas, and I was recently approached by a gentleman that lives here in Vegas to review a book that he is writing. His grandfather that arrived in Seward when he was 4 years old, when Seward was only 3 years old, on the Santa Clara, wrote the first 8 chapters and the last chapter, and this gentleman has filled in the chapters in between. But the name of the book is Seward's Sourdough Kid, the story of a boy in the frontier town of Seward growing up together. And I just wanted to share this one paragraph that I read in here that was really beautiful and stood out and inspirational. So this is back in the 1904, I believe. Seward was, according to popular belief, destined for greatness. It was located on Resurrection Bay, which remained ice-free the year around, one of the finest landlocked harbors in the world. After the town sucked dry the rich marrow bone of the railroad construction boom, it would enter a new and far greater era. Here, prospectors would outfit before they headed out to make new gold discoveries or to work previously registered claims. Here, they would return at the end of the season, loaded with posts of dust and nuggets, ready to enjoy the fruits of their newfound wealth. What San Francisco had been to California gold rush of half a century before, Seward would be to this. I thought that was super inspirational. I wanted to share that. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much. Councilmember McClure?
Oh, just thanks to I was glad to hear the reports from Pat Cab and P&Z. My time on P&Z, that's how I got started too, and I really enjoyed P&Z. I worked my way all the way up to vice chair, I think, before I ran for borough assembly. So anyway, the commissions and boards are really, really important, and I encourage someone to get on there now because there is an opening and it could be a coveted position. So all you have to do is check with the clerk if you don't know how to get a hold of that. And it's a good meeting. We covered a lot of ground. If you look at our schedule coming up, we've got work sessions and things going on. So after a bit of a hiatus of COVID, and just it feels like we hadn't been really moving along with a lot of these projects and things, and now we're getting going with it. So it's a good feeling. That's all I got.
That's great. Vice Mayor?
I'd like to say thank you to administration for without your hard work, none of the people's work would be done. It's been a lot of information that went through this last week and a lot of scheduling and planning. It's nice to see Doug back again. I know you've been working very hard this summer with all the building and street stuff that's been going on. Startup Week is coming up with the Chamber. I will be hosting the First Steps presentation that we did a couple years ago. We also have the Shop Small Weekend coming up, so go and support your local vendors that weekend after Thanksgiving. We also have the Climate Action Plan meeting on Zoom hosted by the Chamber and the Seward Strong group on November 10th at 6 p.m. You can check the Chamber website for all of Chamber website or the Facebook page for all of that information. And thank you.
Thank you. Excellent. I just have a couple comments. The first is, going into this holiday season, I hope that we all reach out and volunteer. There's a lot of nonprofits in this community that need help, especially around this time, and I hope that everyone reaches out and help their neighbor. I do want to thank the boards that came tonight. Planning and zoning has a hard position. They deal with a lot of important things before they even come to council. And also, Port and Commerce Advisory Board really works closely with the chamber and with our local businesses to make sure our economy is healthy. And I want to be extremely clear about this next point. In code, there is the ability for council to approve certain positions, such as the finance director, the police chief, and the fire chief. Those historically have always come to council. It is a check and balance. Just like I said previously, when we have an election, we do not decide the election, but we definitely comes to us for certification in case there are any abnormalities or issues. You see this also repeated at the federal level. While the Senate and the House do not pick people for the Supreme Court, the President does, and there's a check and balance to that process also. This is absolutely not the time to say that something that historically comes to us that has not been challenged in code, with the public perception and trust, this is not the time to start playing with that and saying that there's an issue. Especially not when we do not have an official city manager. So I just want to stress that at this point. I'm sorry if I got passionate, but I do not want to see us going against the public's trust for what they expect us to do. And those are my comments, and I am going to call the meeting.
Adjourned at 8:15.